Hello, Capstone students. One of the discussion boards for this week is to analyze Eastern College. As you all know, Eastern College is not is a non-profit organization, and many of the business students, accounting students, end up working for non-profits. Therefore, many of us, when we talk about business management, we always think about companies, Walmart, Microsoft, but we don't take into consideration that many of the business students and accounting students end up working for nonprofits. The nonprofits are excellent organizations to work for, Therefore, and they use the same strategies, almost the same strategies that for profits use, in terms of management, in terms of accounting, in terms of marketing. In some ways, they might operate differently. In one areas, we look at the, mission, the main mission of, the main goal of businesses is to earn profits for its owners, and which means when they hire you as a manager, there is a reason they hire you, and that is because they want you to make the owners richer, make more profits for the owners. That's the purpose of hiring you. It's a contract between you and the owners. Why should the owners give you money? Why should they hire you? Their purpose is that they hire you is you have to try your best to see what you can do to make the owners, make more money, to help the owners make more money. That's the purpose of for-profit organizations. Therefore, sometimes do not get angry if you see that the owners come and push the managers and see that they encourage the managers to do a better job, to make more money. That's the purpose of a business, to make money. And then, of course, in addition to that, and businesses to getting to that point, they sometimes get involved in charitable work, help organizations, help employees. Those are part of their, might be part of their mission, but their primary goal is to make money. However, the nonprofits like Eastern College, they operate, they are there to serve a social mission. They have a social mission and provide benefits to society. That means the purpose of Eastern College is not to make some people rich, although it likes to have financial stability, it likes to have more money, that way it can operate better. But the purpose is not to make anybody richer, Of course, as I said, we like to have as much money coming to the college, but the goal is to provide benefits. Benefits to whom? To who? To students, to the society. Therefore, that's the difference, rather than generating profits. As I said, if we generate extra money, what do we do with that extra money? We use that for stability of the organization, to put the money back to provide a better service, better quality of education, and hopefully to reduce the tuition, or not to increase the tuition, although we know that that's a challenge, because of the finances. Therefore, there is a difference between these two, but many business students always have the mentality of thinking about business management as looking, because it has the name of business management or accounting, students thinking about everything in terms of business. But let's not forget that these non-profit organizations make a major part of the business world, major part of the organizational world, and there's many people make money in it. It means make money. I mean they get income from it. Therefore, these might be an excellent organizations for people, just someone like myself. I am not working for a business. I am working for a non-profit organizations. Therefore, these are something to have in mind, and sometimes it is great to work for non-profits. Now, some students already posted some good discussions on the discussion board. One of the discussion board, as you know, this week is to analyze Eastern College, because you have to, as a business student, you want to be able to, analyze non-profit organizations. One student said that, it is offering an affordable education, which is correct. We are trying to make it as inexpensive as possible for the students. And as you know, we are rural, our students don't make a lot of money. They cannot afford paying, high tuition. Therefore, that is one of the, in fact, one part of our mission we have put in our mission as a part of, as you know, organizations create a mission. And one of our mission is to provide affordable education. As I said, organizations provide, create, they have a mission. Every organization tries to have one, most likely I will post the discussion topic about, creating a mission for your organization. It will be a future, discussion. But one of the missions of the college is affordability and accessibility. That means we want the education to be accessible to students and affordable. These are two very important components of the college mission. Therefore, it looks like we are compliant with our mission as affordability. This is what one of the students posted, and that the student said that she likes small class sizes, which is correct. Sometimes you go to the big schools, sometimes you have in one class you have 100 students, and flexibility, which is a great organizations that are, flexible, can provide, and sometimes the students like flexibility, and we are providing, that the student posted that Eastern is providing education for traditional and non-traditional. What are the traditional? Traditional students are the ones who maybe don't work, maybe work part-time and take full-time classes. Non-traditional are more adult students, have children and, big family and, a lot of responsibilities, and sometimes they like, part-time, and therefore that is correct. And the student is saying that a student is, helping the students who have full-time jobs and, raising families. That it goes back again to what that the student mentioned about flexibility. And the student said how nice it is if the assignments could be opened Friday, and then it would run until, let's say, Friday of next week. Many of our online, most of the online courses, at Eastern, open usually on Monday, but they last until Friday, until Sunday of a week after. But some students like to see, as the assignments are open Friday, that way they can finish them right during the first 3 days that they open. That's some comments, by one of the students. And the student is, asking about volunteer opportunities. Many of you do not know what West Virginia Invests is, which is a great program by the state. Let's say if you are a millionaire, for example, you live in the state of West Virginia and you decide to get your associate degree, you won't be able to get a Pell Grant, and state wants to help you to get your associate degree. Therefore, it pays for your tuition, because the federal government says, oh, you are a millionaire, we don't have any money for you, go and pay on your own, with your own money. But state wants everybody to get an associate degree and says, don't worry, we don't need your $1 million, you keep your money, but we will pay for your tuition under a program called West Virginia Invests. Based on that, you have to, when you get that money, you have to do some volunteer work because the state is paying you. That volunteer work may be a few hours work for a, charitable organization. I don't know, American Red Cross or church or something. This student says that how nice it is if that, work can be done, remotely online. That way the student doesn't leave home, and, rather than, it says that because, and also one of the other things about this West Virginia Invests, after you get the money from the state, you are obligated not to leave the state for 2 years. That means that to move out of the state, because the state wants you to pay. It pays for your associate degree, but it wants you to stay in the state, at least that the community can benefit from your education. If you decide to move out of a state within the first 2 years that you graduate, then the state would ask you to return the money. And therefore, it's a great program, and many students, several several students are using, the ones who are not getting any Pell Grant or other state-supported grants. Therefore, that is what the student is saying about these volunteer opportunities. And these students also should go for drug tests to make sure that they don't test positive for drugs. That way, if they do, then they will be able to get this West Virginia Invests. Okay. And then student is saying that it is great for Eastern if it can build more partnership with businesses. That's very correct. It is because when we make partnership, we have partnership with businesses. These businesses support the organization, support Eastern College, and we can send our students to do their internship. Many of you are, all of you are taking capstone. Some students like to take internship instead of capstone. Hopefully we can expand our partnership, and then businesses support community colleges, and they come and they send their employees to us. We train them. Therefore, that is correct. The more partnership, strategic alliances are part of this partnership with businesses. And another student said that here is the low cost leader that Eastern College. I looked and compared the tuition. I noticed that another college, Eastern tuition is the lowest in the state, but another college was close to Eastern, only $50 per semester, I think, or per year, which is not significant. Therefore, my hope is that, if I had any power, what I would have done? I would have dropped even the tuition of the Eastern College. It's a marketing strategy I would have used. Why would I say that? Is that there are as many as 8, 9 community colleges here, in the state of West Virginia. If the college drops the tuition significantly, let's say by 10% or 15%, of course it loses some income, but at the same time it can bring a lot of students, because these are online courses. Students from other part of the state say, oh, Eastern College is, the tuition is 15%, 20% less. When it says 15 or 20% less, the college might lose, let's say, $150,000 because it dropped. But in other terms, it gets more students. Just think about this, capstone class. We can have 30 students in this class, but we already have only 11. Therefore, we have room for additional, let's say, 19 more students to make it 30 students. Therefore, it can make the classes more efficient. Therefore, if one of the strategies I would recommend for Eastern to drop the tuition rather than the increasing it. If you do, we lose some money. 150,000, for example, is just a number I'm giving. 150,000, but instead we might get $200,000-$300,000 extra because we can advertise it in such a way across the state that Eastern is very inexpensive. And imagine what will happen to everybody at the state who doesn't want to pay high tuition. Therefore, that is a very smart strategy. Okay. Then the student says that correctly, from 2013 to 2017, the number of students from this much dropped to this much. If you ask me why it dropped from that much to this much, I know I was challenging the college because the mission of the college is, as you know, is education. What happened is that we had another administration from 2010 to 2020 or something, 2021, that the administration, rather than focusing on education, it was focusing on entrepreneurship. That means that they wanted to promote entrepreneurship, while the mission of the college is education. You are more than welcome to incorporate the concept of entrepreneurship in education, but you don't, from morning till evening, the administration came to us and constantly talking about entrepreneurship. And guess what? At the end, it caused a lot of problems. The students, we had lost a lot of students because the college deviated from its core mission of education, and nobody would had listened to us when we told them, we like entrepreneurship. We are not against it. I was one of the people who, as soon as they were trying to get me involved in that, I was trying to stay away from, concept of entrepreneurship means that constantly, having organization meeting at the college. We are trying to create economic development. These are all great, but the focus of us had to be on education, and that's why I am happy that the administration was changed. As soon as they changed the administration, these numbers suddenly moved up, and therefore things result. That's why the importance of the mission. Now you understand that why the mission is very important component of operation of every organization, and why they should stick to their, why they should they, follow their mission, right? They should try their best to make sure that they are not deviating from their mission. And it is a good idea. We have a high early entrance has increased. With early entrance are those high school students who take college classes. In fact, in the past 5 years, the early entrance at the college has increased, I think, between 20 to 30%, which is significant, highest at the state. We have a lot of high school students taking our college courses, and and prior experience plays a big role in success. And today, this student says technological skills are very important, which is correct. These are from the other discussion board. But for now, this discussion, I wanted to talk about what the students posted about the Eastern College, and I want you to understand the importance of nonprofits and importance of the mission, vision. We are going to hopefully in the next week or so, we will talk about mission and vision of the organization, and these are important factors.